UK PM slams Trump for saying NATO troops avoided Afghan front line. Pakistan's 7 Muslim countries announced decision to join Trump's Board of Peace. Interim Venezuela leader to visit U.S. UN rights body holds emergency session on Iran's protest crackdown. Minneapolis shooting raises odds of U.S. government shutdown. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has condemned comments by U.S. President Donald Trump, calling them insulting after Trump claimed NATO allies stayed away from the front lines in Afghanistan. In an interview with Fox News, Trump suggested Allied forces sent to Afghanistan stayed a little back and did not fight on the front lines. The remark sparked outrage in Britain, where 457 British soldiers died during the war in Afghanistan following the September 11th attacks. Starmer responded with a tribute to fallen British troops, calling Trump's comments appalling and deeply hurtful to the families of those who served and died. He added that if he had made such a statement, he would apologize. The White House defended Trump, stating that the United States has contributed more to NATO than any other member. Criticism also came from across Europe. Poland's defense minister demanded respect for Polish veterans, noting that 43 Polish soldiers died in Afghanistan. France's armed forces minister honored 90 French troops killed in the conflict. Pakistan and 7 other Muslim-majority nations have agreed to join U.S. President Donald Trump's newly proposed Board of Peace, a body aimed at resolving the war in Gaza and potentially other global conflicts. In a joint statement, the foreign ministers of Pakistan, Egypt, Jordan, the United Arab Emirates, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar confirmed their decision to join the board after receiving invitations from President Trump. Some countries, including Pakistan, Egypt, and the UAE, have already formally announced their participation. The ministers said they support Trump's peace initiative and will work through the board as a transitional administration to help secure a permanent ceasefire in Gaza, support reconstruction, and advance Palestinian self-determination and statehood under international law. Pakistan's Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar reaffirmed his country's commitment to working with regional partners for lasting peace in Gaza and for the rights of the Palestinian people. Pakistan's Foreign Office said it accepted Trump's invitation to join the board to support implementation of the Gaza peace plan under a UN Security Council resolution. It expressed hope that the framework would lead to a permanent ceasefire, increased humanitarian aid, Gaza's reconstruction, and the creation of an independent Palestinian state based on pre-1967 borders with East Jerusalem as its capital. Venezuela's interim president Delcy Rodriguez is expected to visit the United States soon, according to a senior U.S. official, a major shift in relations between Washington and Caracas. If confirmed, Rodriguez would become the first sitting Venezuelan president to visit the U.S. in more than 25 years, outside of United Nations meetings. She said Wednesday that she is open to dialogue with Washington without fear, stressing diplomacy as the path to address differences. The invitation signals President Donald Trump's willingness to engage Venezuela's new leadership following the dramatic capture of former President Nicolas Maduro by U.S. Special Forces earlier this month. Rodriguez, once a senior figure in Maduro's inner circle, remains under U.S. sanctions, including an asset freeze. Since taking power, Rodriguez has begun reorganizing Venezuela's military leadership and has allowed the U.S. to broker Venezuelan oil sales, welcome foreign investment, and secure the release of dozens of political prisoners. This comes as U.S. warships remain positioned off Venezuela's coast. A White House official confirmed the visit is being planned, though no date has been announced. The United Nations Human Rights Council will hold an emergency session on Friday to address what it calls alarming violence against protesters in Iran. At least 50 countries have backed the special session, citing credible reports of mass killings, violent crackdowns, and serious human rights violations. Rights groups say thousands of people, including bystanders, have been killed in unrest, described as the biggest challenge to Iran's clerical leadership since 2022. Former UN prosecutor Payam Akhavan said the scale of alleged crimes is unprecedented. He stated that efforts are now underway to document abuses in preparation for possible future international trials, describing it as laying the groundwork for Iran's potential Nuremberg moment. Iranian authorities have blamed the unrest on terrorists and foreign-backed rioters, accusing exiled opposition groups, the United States and Israel, of fueling the protests. Iran's diplomatic mission has not yet responded to requests for comment. The proposal before the Council would extend an existing UN investigation into Iran's human rights record and launch a new urgent probe into violations linked to the latest protests, beginning December 28. The findings would be preserved for potential future legal proceedings. Several U.S. senators say they will vote against upcoming government spending bills following the fatal shooting of a second American citizen by federal agents in Minneapolis. The move sharply increases the likelihood of a U.S. government shutdown next week. Funding for major federal agencies, including the Department of Homeland Security and the Pentagon, expires on January 31st. While the Republican-led House has passed a funding package, it still needs approval in the Senate. President Donald Trump's party holds a narrow Senate majority but lacks enough votes to pass the spending bills without Democratic support. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer announced that Democrats will block the legislation if it includes full funding for the Department of Homeland Security, the agency leading Trump's immigration enforcement operations. Democratic Senator Catherine Cortez Masto, considered a key swing vote, said she will not support DHS funding after the latest Minneapolis killing. She accused the administration of deploying undertrained federal agents with no accountability. The decision follows the death of Alex Preddy, a 37-year-old Minneapolis nurse shot by federal agents, just weeks after another local resident, Renee Good, was also killed in a similar incident.